You're probably wondering, why is the interior in my garage? Today we are going to be bedlining the interior of the Jeep. I have some supplies here. I'm going to try to do it the cheap route. Seems to be kind of the motif of my channel. It's how you can customize a Jeep on a budget. So I got this Rustoleum truck bed coating. This was like $45, and I got the Applicator Kit. Of course you could just buy the pieces, but for the convenience I got this, and I'll go over what it comes with. So I pretty much gutted the interior. It took about 30 minutes. Those back seats are pretty heavy, so if you're going to do it yourself, just know that. But also I have some small biceps, so take that for your own account. So all I got left is to take off the driver's seat and the driver's seat and the passenger seat and the doors, and I should be ready to go. Then I'll start the masking process and the whole sanding process. So I'm going to go ahead and get right into it. I have a really tight schedule, so let me go ahead and get right into it and get those seats out. Alright, so the Jeep is fully gutted and ready to be sanded. Actually, let me take these pieces off. Okay, it's ready to be sanded. Sand real light all the way throughout. Not much to be said. Zip tied all the harnesses up so they don't get in the way. And yeah, so I'm going to use some 80 grit sandpaper. This should just be good enough to scuff it up to get this stuff to bond. And then from there on, I'll check in with you guys in a second when I start unboxing the applicator kit and get ready to put on the coating. Alright, so I hit all of this with 80 grit, and now if you guys notice that the tubs aren't sanded, and that's because I'm only doing the bottom layer. So you see this little seam right here? It kind of looks like a glued seam right here. If you guys are familiar with what that is. So I just did the whole floor pan, I guess you would call it. Nothing here, nothing on the sides, but just this area. So there are some big rust areas right here on my Jeep. So and also right here. And that was on both sides. So if you have a Jeep, you probably have those same problems, or maybe it's just mine's just like that. But anyway, so I hit it with 80 pretty hard. There aren't that many shiny places anymore. Mostly all it's dull. And so next I'm going to go ahead and hit it with this Scotch Brite Pad. It's like a abrasive type of pad. It came with the kit that I got, the applicator kit, and that was $11. But I'll go over all that after I finish. But I'm going to hit it with this again just in case if I missed anything, and also this will smooth out a little bit of those rough cuts. And yeah, so it honestly won't be a super big deal if I have a bunch of rough cuts, because the bedliner is very thick and it's textured, so it'll hide a lot of crimes that I do as far as sanding goes. But I'm gonna go ahead and get to this. I'm sorry I haven't been filming that much, but honestly it's just sanding and masking and very tedious work, and I know you guys won't watch all that. So I'm gonna go ahead and get to sanding, and then I will check in with you guys when it's time to mask off. So I just have a air compressor. If you guys don't have one of these, then you can use a vacuum or something like a shop vac, and just blow out all that sanding dust and any debris that may have occurred when you're sanding stuff. So now that I got most of this cleared out, I'm gonna go over this with soapy water to clear off the grease and dirt and pick up some of the rest of the particles that I missed, and then it'll be time to roll it on. Alright, so I'm starting to mask off some stuff, and there's some holes that I don't want the bedliner to go in, because that stuff is pretty thick, and if it gets in there, then you might have a problem. So what you want to do, quick little tip, is get some foil from your mom's house. Don't tell them that you're doing this, because they might get a little mad at you. But you don't need that much, and you just kind of wrap it up and stick it in the hole. This allows you to take it all out of one piece, as opposed to masking tape. Sometimes it just falls apart. And also, this is super cheap too. Like, this stuff is very, very inexpensive. And also, after you're done bedlining, you gotta pull out all your masking tape. Real easy, you just pull it out, and it's no big deal. But just go around to all the holes that you need to be blocked off, and there it is right there. So also, while I'm here, I might as well tell you, I'm going to mask off all these little posts right here, and this is where the harness clicks into. The grounding points here, and anything that I don't want to get painted. The threaded portions, the holes, I'm going to make a square portion, make a rough outline here. Alright, then I'm going to get my blade. And make a real precise square around these holes. Of course, you can do whatever shape you fancy, but once you take the tape off, it looks pretty good right there. And once I have all this painted, it'll look really, really neat and awesome, as opposed to just doing it like this. You'll see these serrated edges, and it just won't look clean, and it just won't look right. So I'm going to go ahead and keep masking off all that stuff just like that. I'll show you again right here. Just right here like that. And honestly, masking is a very important step. The more time you spend on prep, the better it's going to turn out. And that's just a fact. Probably 30 minutes or so. So let me get to it, and I'll check in with you guys when it's time to, when I'm done with this. Alright, we're all masked off and ready to go. I might actually push this right here. Alright. Good. Alright, so now we're there. Everything is masked off, as you guys can see. Now it's time to go over there and mess with that applicator kit. Alright, so I got this truck bed coating applicator kit. This is like $12 from Walmart. And what inside, it comes with that Scotch Brite that I showed you guys earlier, a paintbrush, a roller that I guess I have to assemble myself, which is perfectly fine. I'll do that in a minute. And a roller tray. And yeah, it should be pretty straightforward. I'm going to use the brush to get the hard to get places first, and then I'm going to get the roller and then just start applying it thoroughly. So I don't really have a proper mixing stick, so this piece of rebar will have to do. Alright. Time to start mixing. Alright. Seems right. So I'm going to pour a little bit into here and then get the party started. Oh shit, dude, come on. God damn. Alright, the first coat is done. I took off the masking tape and then put on some new masking tape so it didn't harden over any of the holes and stuff. So yeah, so it looks pretty light right now. Again, I gotta add some more coats, and it's a little heavy. It's a little uneven. Honestly, I should have just opted for the spray paint cans, but I used about half of the big gallon thingy, the gallon tank. So I'm just gonna use the rest of it here. I waited about 2 hours for this to kind of harden up. It's pretty hard right now. So, but this is a very thin layer, so now I can just lather on the rest. But I'm still going to take my time, and I'll check in with you guys when the second coat is done. Alright, so the second coat is done. We'll wait like 30 minutes or so for this kind of to tack up and kind of set it in place. Then I'll take off the masking tape everywhere. And yeah, so far this has taken a couple hours, about 4 or 5 hours. So this should be fully hard and dry in about 24 hours. So I don't know, I'll need this car before then, so I'll probably wait a couple hours and see if it's okay to just drop the seats in and stuff. So overall, really simple. I just to lather on the rest of it, I just got to put it in a cup and then just poured it out and lathered it really thick, so I can get a really good layer of bed liner on there. As you guys can see, it's kind of uneven in some places, but that's fine. It's not really an aesthetic mod. The carpet will be going back over it. So, anyways. Alright, so it is about 24 hours later. And, well, it was kind of dusty this morning, but all of it is hardened up. You guys can see I missed a few spots, but overall it looks pretty good for a DIY for $50. So, here you guys go. I'm going to give you guys a full look around. But this is pretty straightforward. All you gotta do is just, you know, prep it well. And gutting the interior is actually really easy. Just take off the bench seat, the seat, the actual passenger and driver seat, and then you want to remove this seat belt from the driver's seat and the passenger seat, and that has a Torx on it, Torx 45, I believe. And then remove all the drain plugs, cover up all the holes. And then once you do that, it's all pretty much just painting. Like I said, it's pretty dusty, so you know, got a little bit of dust on there. And so that's what it looks like. I'm gonna go ahead and quickly throw together the seats and all that stuff, and then we'll clean the dash and stuff, and then I'll show you when it's all done. So let me get into that. So I was trying to wipe off all this dirt. But then I was like, you know what? Why don't I just wash it out and show you guys the process? Because I know a bunch of you guys have not ever done this overkill before. So I'll show you guys how the draining system works while I'm already doing all this stuff. So all the electricals are out of the way. I'll just make sure I don't spray into any of these plugs or anything. Yeah, let me get into spraying this thing down. As you guys can see, it all kind of runs down into these vent holes. Well, it used to. I kind of messed it up with the bed liner, I think. But usually it kind of accumulates and it drains out pretty well. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and dry this and throw the interior back in. Alright, so it's a couple days later. I've had time to drive around with the Jeep and kind of get my thoughts on how I like the mod and what I would change and stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead and go over it real quick. I know I didn't do a real good job of recording the whole process, but it was basically just taking out everything. So quickly, how you take out the seats is there's 4 bolts per front and driver's seat, or the driver and passenger seat, 18mm bolts. Those come out really easy. The seats are really light. You will have to take off your headrest before you remove them. You kind of hit the ceiling and you run into some problems. So, and then after that, you guys have seen me take out these bolts before in that seat recline kit. But again, they're 18mm bolts, 4 in the front, 3 in the back. And then you want to come around to here and then undo 1, 2, and 3. Those are also 18mm, and then the whole back seats come out. That's they're pretty heavy, honestly, maybe 50 or 60 pounds maybe, but it's just such a long weight, and also it's kind of hard to keep all the seats kind of in one plane, so it's a little difficult. And then after that, it's really as simple as taking out the carpet. In the back here, you want to get a size 4, I believe, Allen key, and then take out all these little D-ring holders. There's 6 of them all around the rear here. And then once that comes out, you can take out these panels. They pop out. There's one 10mm nut holding this panel in, and this one too. And after that, all that pops out. The carpet just comes out. You just pull it out. You will have to make an incision right here, as you guys can see. You will just have to cut that from the factory. They put the carpet in first, then the seats, so they don't have to cut it or anything like that. And it's also easier from a manufacturing perspective. And then also you have to take off these side panels, or at least I did. If you're really careful with a brush, then you won't need to, but I did because sometimes I'm a little sloppy with my paint. So easy enough, you just pop it out. There are a bunch of push tabs that all broke for me, but I don't really mind too much. And then again, the carpet in the front comes out really easy. There are, I don't know if you guys can see in there, there's a little gray push pin. Those just click in super easy, and they pop out, and then the carpet comes out. And after that, I took out the drain plugs and then masked off. There are 2 wiring harnesses under each seat. It may be different for you if you have heated seats or different types of seats, but mine, they're just the most basic seat you have. So there's just 1 harness plug for each. And real easy. There's a grounding eyelet on each side. So I just unscrewed that 10mm, and then I just zip tied it up to the steering wheel and that grab handle there, so it got out of my way. After that, I just masked off everything I didn't want to do, and that's kind of when I started recording. But for $65, it's really nice. I really like it. It sound deadens really well, and honestly, it just adds durability and maybe structural rigidity, because it actually adds more rigidity to the body. It's not a unibody construction, but maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. You guys will have to myth bust that for me. But overall, a really easy mod. The only thing that's difficult and kind of tasking is taking out the whole interior. But again, the Jeep Wrangler's super simple interior design. So like I said, there's only like maybe even 15 bolts total you have to take out. And they're really distinctive, so you don't have to really mess around with them. All the seat bolts are interchangeable. They all have the same pitch and pretty much the same length. Of course, it's not anything like a Line X or a Rhino liner or an epoxy type of bed liner where you have to do a mixing. I straight up just use the gallon from Walmart and the Applicator Kit. The Applicator Kit wasn't that great, honestly. I only used the paintbrush and the Scotch Brite. So if you just want to go out to the Dollar Tree or Walmart and get you a paintbrush, it's really easy. The roller, it didn't really work well for me. And honestly, if I was going to revisit this again, I would use a spray paint can or a type of spray so you can get a very even coat. I'm not really good at hand painting, so that's probably why my results weren't as good as I wanted them to be. And that gallon, that big gallon tank or container will give you 2 layers, or at least gave me 2 layers. Again, if I was going to revisit this again, I would probably do one more really thick layer, just personal preference. But the 2 laid on really well, and I was kind of impressed. I did a little bit of testing that I didn't record. I threw a bunch of tools on it and stuff like that to see if it would scratch or to see how durable it is, and it actually works really well. You guys might remember I used that same bed liner on the rock rails and the some of the body parts on my Jeep. Those videos came out like a year and a half ago or so, so I'll go ahead and link them in the video right now. But I threw the carpet back in and stuff like that, and this is one of those mods where you can just take the carpet out and chunk the carpet, but I like the carpet. It's nice creature comfort that I really love, and I just really like it. So I think that'll be the end of the video. If you have any questions or concerns or comments, and I'll do my best to answer them. I read every single comment. And with that, it should be the end of the video. Go ahead and like the video if you liked it. Comment questions or concerns like I just said. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I have a lot of cool mods coming up, so go ahead and stay tuned for that. And with that, I'll see you guys later. Peace.